You're listening to Heritage Radio Network.
Todd Richards here, Roots, Hearts,
and Soul.
You are listening to Roots, Heart, and
Soul. Yeah,
Roots,
baby.
Heart, and Soul podcast.
Stephan and I are launching this podcast based off cookbook Roots, Heart, and Soul by myself, Todd Richards, with a great help from Chef Stephan.
We're going to be hearing stories from Africa all the way to the Caribbean, all the way to the Americas. It's going to be something special. What's up, buddy?
Welcome back.
Well, it's actually good to see you, man.
Yeah, it's good to see you as well. On a mid or almost late Saturday, September. Fall is in the air, as they say,
yes.
And it is time to get down for the rest of the year. I mean, where has this year gone?
You know what? To be honest with you, I have no idea, man. I have no idea. The year has gone by very quickly. A little bit. Not as tumultuous as I thought it would be, especially for me. And things just went by, and now we're at the end of September, and we gotta finish the year with a bang, brother.
Yes, we do. Absolutely.
We gotta finish the year with a bang, man.
Roots Art Soul Podcast, Chef Todd Richards, of course, the great Chef Stephan, back from a little bit of hiatus. We were
yes.
Stephan got back from the Great North, and I finally made it back from Philly back to ATL. I don't think I've been this long.
You came home.
Yeah, I don't think I've been home this long. Look. I mean, I didn't even share. I haven't been home so much.
You've let the beard. You've let the beard grow a little bit, buddy.
Well, I mean, I had to take a little bit of hiatus, get myself back together, both physically, mentally, and socially as well.
I think we don't realize a lot of times when we are so encrusted in the grind, we don't realize how important it is to take a mental break, both mental and physical. And for me, after my son's wedding, it was both.
Yeah, I believe me.
It was both. The last 3 weeks of September have just been recovering both physically and mentally. I'm lucky to have family around, man. I'm lucky to have family around who in a whim are ready to support you. And it doesn't have to be much. It can just be, hey, listen, come to my house. Let me take care of you.
I've heard your aunt on the phone when we talked, and she not only she taking care, she laying down the law too. So
this lady can talk. She can talk.
Hey, that's what family is for.
That's my mom's little sister, but she can talk, bro. But she's an artist. So she's very she wears her emotions on her sleeves, and she's very expressive, and that's okay. That's okay. I'm learning something new.
No, that's it. Hey, every day, aren't we all?
I'm learning something new, man. She's very expressive. So you're back home.
Yes.
Doing a little here and there. We're not gonna say too much about that yet, but it's coming.
Well, what's great though is I realize with Jackmont, and it's been a long run of what we've been doing, and I had to sit down and just calculate that we did 12 restaurants in 24 months.
12 restaurants in 24 months.
That is.
I don't think people realize how grueling that is.
I don't think. When people say you're gone on the road so all the time, it's like you got to understand. Like we have almost. Yes, it has not been every 2 months, but in the time span, it has been You know, it has been that long. You know, I mean, I practically lived in Philadelphia. You know, for about
12
5 months.
restaurants in 24. 12 restaurants
24
in 24 months. That's literally
24 months.
one restaurant every 2 months.
Yes, absolutely. When you
That's
think about it
crazy.
that way, yeah, it's
That's
absolutely
crazy.
insane. Yeah.
That's grueling.
Yeah, and we get to talk to a good. I would say friend. You know, sometimes I say friends, I say family a lot. You know, but our guest this week is kind of both when you think about it from the standpoint that I've watched this young man grow up, and both as a fine young man, but also in the culinary field as well. When you think about it from that standpoint, we get to have some really great guests. But a lot of times our guests are our age, you know, us old farts get reminiscing
Listen,
and talking about stuff that,
I've done my research about this young
Right.
man.
Okay.
I've done a little bit of research about this young man. I'm quite impressed.
Okay.
I'm quite impressed.
Yeah.
I'm quite impressed. So
I appreciate
I think and not only that, you have delved into a culinary expertise which I'm very passionate and very fond of. So we're going to have a great conversation as far as I'm concerned.
Of course. Well, I have to say it because Stephan told me I had to take a lead on this one. I have to welcome Chef Lawrence Weeks to Roots Heart Soul podcast on Heritage Radio Network. Welcome, Chef. Friend.
Hey,
welcome, man.
So just before everyone really wants to know how far Lawrence and I go back. Lawrence and my oldest son, Junior, went to high school together.
Oh,
and
wow.
then Lawrence's dad delivered my youngest son, Tedrick, as well. So when I say that, I know this person,
family.
Family. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't have any other definition for it, man.
Yeah,
it's called family.
I sent him Tedrick's graduation picture, and you can't believe how fast, the 18 years went by that fast, even though he totaled his damn car already, but that's a whole nother story, but 18 years go by fast, and then when you watch someone get into this culinary field, you realize that 18 years is really not that long because we're still learning stuff every day. So
look at me, how 21 years just flew by like it was Speedy Gonzalez, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now I have a 21-year-old son who's now a man and is married and is building his family. It's crazy.
Wow, that's great. So Lord,
welcome to the show. Welcome to the podcast, Roots, Heart, and Soul. Todd was excited to have you on the platform, and after doing a little bit of research myself, I'm like, man, we're gonna have a conversation because I'm excited.
I'm ready to get into it because you all are some seasoned vets, and you say you have a younger person on here, but I like to talk about the times before me as well.
Well, listen, I'm certainly. I can certainly count myself as a veteran, but I'm still learning, man. This game is a never-ending university.
Yeah,
isn't that the truth?
All right, Stephan, go ahead, get this bio. Let's let everybody know who we got here.
Beard Foundation nominated for Emerging Chef. Based and raised in Louisville, Kentucky. Dedicated himself to cooking when he was just a child, growing up in a Cajun Creole household. Chef Lawrence Weeks has now gained national acclaim, and his restaurant was recognized by NYT as leading one of the top 50 restaurants in America. That's amazing. That right there, it excites my taste buds already. So I'm gonna ask a very, very simple but complicated question.
Yeah.
Cajun and Creole.
Correct.
What is the difference?
Oh, it's easy. It's easy. Creole comes from I would say more it's leaned more towards the African diaspora. So you've got more Spanish influence. You've got the West Indies, the Caribbean influence, and then more of the West African influence. Cajun comes from the French influence, and a Cajun comes from Acadia, which is migrants that came from France to Nova Scotia, Canada, and then through religious persecution went down to Louisiana. So the easy answer
Interesting.
is city food is more so Cajun or Creole, and then the country food is more so Cajun.
Ah,
Yeah, that's probably the simplest and best way I've heard someone
absolutely.
describe it.
Absolutely.
You know,
Because I've heard a lot of definitions. That was
Right.
a lot of them is complicated. But this is
Besides
this.
someone saying that Creole is black folks and Cajuns is white folks, that's probably the most. That's probably the most simplest.
But they were
You know?
intermingled down there, so like
Right,
it's
right.
kind of
You
hard
really
to
can't
tell.
even say that.
But Cajun also has an German influence as well, right?
Yeah, there's a very handsome picture of one of my great grandmother's German lady. She's mixed white and black, but you know, she's got the African features on the face, but German garb and everything else. So they're all in the same community. Sometimes it's hard to tell who's who.
Well, I mean, that's great though. So, Louisville, Kentucky, and it's not Louisville, it's not Louisville. You know, just for our listeners, it's Louisville. You know, you got to say it all in one rhythm. You know, if you can't say it right, you need to have another whiskey, and then you just get another bourbon, and you say it right from there. You know, and before we get started on your new project and what you have going on, you know. I don't really believe that people understand how much of a food city Louisville is. And for a person who was part of that scene from 2004 to 2008, I definitely could say that just in my last return this year and last year that it's grown even further into that food city, and it's a destination. Let me say this: it's a destination of food outside of bourbon, where everyone used to come just because it was bourbon and food was there. I believe that people go there for food, not in the equal, because people are still going to go for bourbon first. But what is define what Louisville's food scene is like.
So Louisville food scene is really just trying to find itself right now. I feel like the bourbon scene has opened up financial um, financial space for people to actually come in and they have culture and they could actually tell their story instead of it being steak and potatoes town that a lot of people think that it is.
Mm.
Um, it's always been a transient city, so there was no real identity. But now I feel like people are coming in with their culture, they're injecting it into the city, and then putting that with the bourbon, and it's a hit.
I mean, the famous streets you have there, Barstown Road, of course, where a lot of, restaurants, there. And then you have a lot of great, you have a lot of beer nominated chefs that are there, that were there, either there who have left and come back, or who have even, like yourself, kept restaurants there. Edward Lee is there, of course, with 610, and he has other places in DC. You have yourself, you have Anthony Lamas, who's a long time, Louisville, chef in Louisville, and then before that, you had Kathy Carey, who was,
Yeah.
probably the grand dame of putting Louisville on a certain type of map in the food world. But one thing I don't think that people understand is the agriculture. The agriculture that's responsible for a lot of those things outside of whiskey. So what is the agriculture scene there that's supporting all these great restaurants?
So the agriculture here it's so strong because of our climate. We have a subtropical climate. The Appalachian Mountains are considered one of the oldest mountain ranges in the world. Um, So that brings a certain type of climate with it. We get a lot of rainfall. Our summers are hot, so we can grow a wide variety of vegetables, whether it be Japanese greens, uh, any kind of radish, potato, whatever. And we also have 4 seasons. So like true 4 seasons to where you can grow berries in the spring and then other type of things in the summer, fall, and winter. I think that really impacts it. And also, it's just we don't have huge metropolitan areas, so there's a lot of farmland.
I mean, I would definitely say the Mizuna is probably some of the best Mizuna I ever had. You know, still to this day. I mean, just when over our time there, and the crucifers that came out of the ground. You know, the broccoli, the cabbages, that the cauliflowers, all those things that came out of that region, and potatoes. Everyone thinks, just in our country, we stick with one thing. We say Idaho is, great for potatoes, but I don't think that people understand the mountainous range of the Appalachians, really what it does with potatoes in that region as well. And then it's called bluegrass. So you got to have some kind of agriculture, or some type of terroir to grow some of the best grass in the country. What you got, Stephan?
But it looks like it looks like it's very seasonal. And how does Creole Cajun sensation brings to Louisville, and how does that fit in with the type of cuisine that you do?
So they say Louisville is sister cities with New Orleans. And it's through the travel of the Mississippi River or the Ohio River feeding into the Mississippi. And I think that there is a connection of trade. So if you go down to New Orleans and you look at the ports, you see all the trade that's going on down there, and it came from one of the ports in Kentucky. That's how bourbon was made. And I think that's probably how they got a lot of other things down there. But the Creole culture and all that, I think it comes from just trying to find like roots in something that matters. We're trying to make do. So the agriculture, the distillation practices and all that.
So you're able to find key ingredients that you would normally have in a Creole Cajun type of menu, and you're able to find most or some of those ingredients, in Kentucky.
Yeah, because of our growing environment, we can grow a lot of those ingredients, and it's the same as you find it in Louisiana.
I mean, with that in mind, though, and a lot of chefs are ingredient focused. But one thing, like I said, you are a seasoned chef. You know your style, but what is that style? Define that style of cooking that you have, and why did you get on the James Beard scene because of the cooking that you do?
So I always say that my heart and my blood is centered in the Creole Cajun cooking. Like I can't take that out of me because that is ingrained in me. That's my mother's side of the family. My father's side of the family is from Kentucky. I moved to Lexington, Kentucky to kind of learn the Eastern Central Kentucky style of cooking. The agriculture there is something that I miss greatly. It's not the same in Louisville, but it's still pretty amazing. I think that my style of cooking is taking what I know in Creole Cajun and finding parallels to other cultures. There's nuanced things that I see and in my travels and things that I taste where I'm like, this is very much like this place or very much like this cuisine.
Give us a dish. I know I'm putting you on the spot. Give us a dish that is it like the boudin balls you made. I remember those. I mean, like give us a couple of dishes, you know, that people are going to say when they come to your restaurant, what they're going to be looking out for?
Yeah, so if you've been to New Orleans, you know Yucca Main.
Oh, yeah,
That's late night.
Yeah.
So so I used to have a restaurant that served Japanese food, that focused on Japanese food. And in the South, you would never think that there was a noodle dish that serviced our community and actually had a story to it. But that beef yucca mein, I flipped it and did shrimp yucca mein, which became a hit. And a southern like noodle dish or like ramen like dish is not the first thing you think about when you think about Creole Cajun, but it exists.
I mean, Yakimine for me as a kid, you know, there was a place on 87th and Stony Island in Chicago, and we see a Yakimine. I mean, all the time. And you know, when Soul first came out, people asked me what was the inspiration for the collard green ramen. You know, it really just took into that consideration of both New Orleans, you know, growing up Chicago, and our South Side heritage of Chicago as well, combining all those dishes. So I definitely understand that influence. There was another dish that I remember you doing, and just thinking about the Caesar salad with like the black garlic that you did. I mean, just something that's classically known as the Caesar salad, but your riff on it with the black garlic. Explain that dish for us.
Yeah, so that was our the Milletone Caesar. So Milletone is chayote squash essentially. So we peel it, we cut them into matchsticks, and then we dress it in like a vegan Caesar dressing, some vegan cheese, black garlic breadcrumbs, because I think it just adds like a lot of depth to
Oh
it.
wow.
It gives it that umami that the anchovy would normally have, and then also the garlic kick. And it was, for me, that was a dish that everybody, when they see a Caesar salad, is like, okay, I'll order the Caesar. Even if they have no idea what Milletone is, they're gonna order the Caesar just to see what it is. And I'm almost forcing you to eat something that you don't know what it is.
And we say vegan on that, just any egg in there, or are you just using Dijon to emulsify it? What were you using to emulsify that dressing?
So it's Dijon aquafaba that came
Okay.
from chickpeas.
Yeah.
And we made like vegan mayonnaise with aquafaba, and then some nutritional yeast.
I mean, so for our listeners who don't know what's in Caesar dressing, everyone loves it, and they say they're eating a vegan dressing. It contains both egg yolk and anchovies, you know, normally. So if you say you're a vegan and you're eating Caesar, guess what? I hate to break it to you, you're not you're not eating vegan at that time. But is that creative process that you're going through, that we're talking about to our listeners with your dishes, is that what makes you stand out, or you know, what is it that really just stands out on the plate, that or that message you're trying to convey to the guests that come into your place?
Oh, that's a double-edged sword, because one part of me is like, I think the challenges in front of me and the restrictions make me be more creative. Like, I would like to feed everybody. I would like to feed the vegans, the gluten-frees, everybody who has restrictions. I'd like to be accommodating, and then them have something that's delicious and not just like a passed off dish.
Yeah, not just three sides. You know, just order three sides if you're a vegetarian. You know, is what you're referring to, like we used to do back in the day. You know.
You see, you caught my attention with the you caught my attention with the Milletone, because being Creole, but Creole Haitian, we use a lot of Milletone in a lot of our cooking.
Stephan, for our listeners, please make sure we describe exactly what that is, though. I don't want to assume that.
So Milletone is called chayote in most places. So, but we actually call it Milletone in Haiti. That is the French Creole word for it. So you caught my attention when you're using that as the main ingredient for Caesar salad. Now, the utilization of mirliton in Asian cooking is mostly cooked. Sometimes we do a stuffed mirliton with crab or with saltfish. I've done a veloute of mirliton with saltfish in it, which when I did it for the first time, people went berserk. But I've also used it raw, as part of a salad, but never would do that. That's a crazy idea, man, to do that with as a Caesar salad. That's pretty cool.
Was any, and I know we're talking about this dish, any romaine, any baby Jim, anything on there, or it's just all the, man, that sounds good. So like the texture, so you still got the water properties and you still got the crunch, from it. Man, that's brilliant. That's a brilliant dish. When you think about it, in Roots Heart Soul cookbook, and Stephan, you remember you and I were talking about this, and then Josh, Chef Joshua was on a couple of weeks ago, helped me finish that dish that we did it. We stuffed it with wild rice and everything, and did it in the barbecue section of the book next to brisket. We stuffed it with that and roasted and everything. So, I mean, that just shows you how versatile vegetables are. Jose Andres always talks about that you put a piece of meat in your mouth, you chew it 3 times, and all the flavor is gone. But you bite on vegetables, and that flavor keeps building and building and lasting a lot longer. That to use a squash that way is fantastic.
That's crazy. That's fantastic, man. That's really, really innovative.
Yeah, thank you. And delicious. And delicious. So, Chef, you are getting ready to venture out on your own, like truly on your own.
Yeah, I'm deep in the water right now.
Yeah, as you got 2 experienced deep sea divers over here. If you're gonna say deep in the water, you got two deep sea.
Sometimes with no gear.
And no gear, free. What's that called? Free diving.
Sometimes with no gear, man.
Yeah, that's why we keep this beer belly so we can float back to the top.
Yeah. Sometimes with no gear, man. No freaking gear, and people are looking at us like we're out of our freaking mind.
And we are. So why now? Why are you venturing now to open your place, your signature place?
It's time. I feel like with my last 2 ventures that I reached a ceiling. Creatively, you can always squeeze more, of course. Like you said, you could always learn and you could always do more. But I think personally now it's time for me to tell my story 100% uninterrupted. When you have some partners and they want to put input into your story, even if it's all love, it still kind of interrupts the creative process, because I don't know how you all feel, but sometimes I need to just sit on something and just let it marinate. It might take 6 months. I look at it like music. There's a lot of music that's been recorded by your favorite artist and it sits for 6 years before it even gets released. So
yeah, I definitely can understand that. As a musician, I would say that right now there's dishes that I have that no one has ever tasted except for me. That the platform has not necessarily been there to present these dishes. So what is the process? What is the process that you're going through right now in opening this place?
So it's just, to me, I think the process is just real everyday life. Like I said, Creole Cajun is always in my background.
Well, let me ask it in a different way. I mean, so you're doing this. Are you in any kitchens right now? Are you I mean, are you keeping the creative juices going? What's going on in this process, while you're waiting to open your signature restaurant?
Oh, like why was I waiting so long to do it?
No,
No,
no.
no, no.
No. It's like, how do you keep your shows? Yeah,
While you're going through the process of opening the restaurant,
yeah,
Oh,
the
yeah.
time, how are you spending your time right now? How are you developing the things that you need, that you know you need to do in order to get to that, ultimately to get to that point where, hey, I'm finally opening?
I
Because I
got you.
know because I know there's obviously, opening a restaurant financially, it's a big deal, but there's also everything else. And as a chef, and as a chef creator, as a chef owner, there is so much more else you need to do, um, in order for you to get to, you know to that next step.
hmm So for me, when times are like this and I have a whole lot on my plate, as a chef, it might sound funny, but food is the last thing that I think about. I know how to do that. So that's the last thing I think about. I try to literally get it out of my mind, and I start biting off the stuff that I don't know about.
Hmm.
I don't know about the permits and the building code and this and that, like the stuff that nobody thinks about. That's what I need to focus on. Make sure I'm tight on that, and then I focus on the food, because personally for me, I feel like when I'm really in my bag is when it's crunch time, and it's like
Yeah.
I start firing off ideas and they're not well thought out. Or if they're too thought out, I feel like they're just plain. They're overly um, managed and they're overly thought out. They're not imaginative enough. I just know it works.
Well, Roots Art Soul podcast, Chef Todd Richards, of course, the great chef Stephan, Heritage Radio Network. I want to give out a shout out to Cooper and Heat Radio. It's a podcast that explores the forces that shape our meals through narrative, sound-rich audio stories. Primary release as a thematic seasons. Past topics have ranged from questioning the exclusionary traditions around gender in fine dining kitchens to dissecting the concepts of value and craft in the world of food. Cooper and Hart. Cooper and Heat Radio is a 2 times James Beard Media Award winner for Best Podcast 2019 and Best Audio Programming in 2023. It's really great to have so many great label mates here on Heritage Radio Network. Make sure you're listening to Cooper and Heat Radio on Heritage Radio Network. One thing you brought up is overthinking. And as we are all chefs here, and sometimes we are so critical of everything, from where the silverware is placed, to the way the door swings on a cooler door, Uh, but one thing I don't think that we can ever really overthink is the guest experience. And what is the guest experience you want at this restaurant that you're opening?
What is
So,
the story you want to share?
so I want to have duality in the space that I have, and it is going to be the downstairs space is going to be a pub, English style pub
Mm.
with a touch of Creole. So we're going to have stuff like a boudin Scotch egg, and then upstairs is going to be more white tablecloth Creole with the simplicity of English cookery. So I don't want to get into crazy with the food. I just want it to be delicious, straightforward flavors. But the guest experience, I want you to feel welcome. I want you to get the same quality of food on both places, whether it be casual or upscale. And I want you to feel like you're leaving having an experience that you haven't had before. You mentioned the Louisville dining scene, and I think that There is a lot of good places. There's some classics like Jack Fry's, Vincenzo's, stuff like that. But the white tablecloth experience is kind of starting to disappear. Um, so making half of the restaurant white tablecloth, probably a little less than half. That's what I fell in love with when I'm, 5 years old watching Great Chefs, Great Cities back in the 90s, the 80s, the 90s when people were cooking. That's really what made me fall in love with food is watching that production.
80s and 90s. Hell, you weren't even born yet. What are you talking about? 80s.
I was watching it on TV.
but very surprising the direction of your concept. Creole pub.
Mhm.
Now that sounds really freaking interesting. And the reason why is I had the opportunity at one point to I took over an Irish pub. And funny thing, an Irish pub in Haiti. So you can imagine me trying to create Irish style, English style dishes like shepherd's pie, but with Haitian ingredient and using goat instead of lamb to do a shepherd's pie. This was one of the most
sauerkraut. Wow. Okay.
This was one of the most fun projects I had ever done. So you've caught my attention with pub and Creole, and I would love to see like a Boudin Scotch egg. That sounds like
Right. Sign me up for that. All
that
day.
sounds. You can sign me up for that. I will come and eat that every day. That sounds really, really interesting and exciting. And you're leaning more toward the English style cuisine, mixing it with the Creole. That's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, because I chose the pub because number one, the space we were taking over is an existing pub. Um, Todd, I don't know if you remember Cumberland Brews.
Yeah, Cumberland Brews. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the space we're going into, and I
Mhm.
think they were probably one of the first microbreweries in Kentucky.
Mhm.
And since then, it's been pubs. But my love for English pubs came. I've been going to London every year for the past like 4 or 5 years,
Mhm.
and the feel of a pub just it's different than going into a bar and getting bar food in America. It feels a lot more comfortable. It feels a lot less. It's not a sports bar. It's a social space and a community space.
Yeah,
So that's what I want
yeah.
to really create is like, okay, it's 5 o'clock. I'm getting off work. I just want to have a quick drink and some chicken wings and go
Yeah.
home.
Some good fish and
Uh,
chips. You know.
Good
Hmm.
fish and chips, bangers and mash.
Yeah.
I see a boudin. I see a boudin mash coming up in my head, and I'm like, it would be crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and then you said the white tablecloth. Are you gonna? Is it one kitchen producing both, or you have a separate kitchen? Or
Yeah. We got one kitchen doing both, which
yeah.
it's I'm having to become very creative with the space because it's a very small kitchen. So
Sure.
Yeah. Well,
um
you're looking at the master of that. Anytime I want to work in the airport, you want to see a small kitchen. I
Yeah,
mean, hell,
yeah.
I mean, a galley kitchen might be bigger than some of the kitchens we have, but I mean, it's all about the efficiencies and things like that as well. And then you'll be sourcing, I'm sure, things from still the local farmers and places like that as well. So even though it's a pub concept, does that mean that you have to abandon the farmers and anything like that in order to get it done?
Oh no, I don't think so. I would think you're going to be very creative with what you can find, what you can acquire locally, And from what I see with you, you're going to be even more creative with sourcing products locally. Um, I can already see your train of thought. So I'm like, hey, this is gonna be very, very fun to see when you're done with this project and you open up. And I would love to also see the difference that your approach, if you will, um, between the white tablecloth type of dishes versus the pub. That should be quite fun to see.
Yeah.
When do you anticipate getting close to opening? I mean, because I never put a date on openings anymore, especially when you got to do permitting and things like that, and you have to go through the bureaucracy,
Inspections and so
inspection and
forth.
stuff like. So when is the anticipated season of opening?
Hopefully the end of next month.
Okay, oh, that's
I,
quick. That's fast. All right, beautiful.
I I think if we get close enough by the end of next month, the end of October, my birthday's November 1st. If we're like,
Uh-oh.
ready to go November 1st, we
Mm-hmm.
might as well just hit it on my birthday so
Yeah,
I don't have to
uh-oh.
remember another date.
Yeah, that's it. You don't have to makes it easy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Happy birthday to self with some brand new brass keys in hand
Yeah.
to a new restaurant. I mean I mean, you talk about chefs be balling. That's the balling shit right there. I open up my own restaurant for my birthday. Yeah. Yeah, Roots Are Soul podcast, Chef Todd Richards, of course, the great Chef Stephan, Heritage Radio Network. We're here with Chef Lauren Weeks out of Louisville. It's really great to catch up with him. Like I said, him and I go way back until he was a little tight, at Trinity High School in Louisville.
That's the
And
rock, baby.
yeah, right. Even came down here with me for a stint at the Pig and the Pearl over in Atlantic Station. Went back, went out to Lexington, and now he's back in Louisville, opening his own place, which we hear might be happening within the next 6 to 8 weeks. So it sounds good. Go ahead,
Sounds
Stephan.
definitely interesting.
Yeah.
Chef, as you get ready to open this new place, and we've literally announced that you're close to opening. Give us a little bit of the story you want to share with people, and also the name of the restaurant. Where do we of course follow your progress and in the next few weeks as you get ready to open. Where do people follow you? How do people connect with you? If they're in the area and they want to drop in for a bite, please share with our audience some of that information.
So the name of the establishment is Murray's Creole Pub. My name is Lawrence Weeks. I'm named after my past two grandfathers. Lawrence Xavier Murray is my grandfather. Lawrence Ignatius Murray was his father. They're both from St. Landry Parish in Louisiana, both on my mother's side. And Lawrence Ignatius, my great grandfather, always wanted to be a chef. But in the 1920s, 1930s, that was never an accomplishable goal, especially in Louisiana. He was the head cook of the community center, I believe, or the church that was down there. His son, Lawrence Xavier, wanted to be a chef, but at that time, he could only be a server. So he was an avid home cook. So I just feel like I'm living out their dreams. So I just want to honor them by calling out their name, Murray.
No, that's great.
That's
Yeah,
beautiful, man. That's
and
beautiful.
and really,
So you're honoring your legacy, my friend.
yeah, and I want to give Todd his flowers because when I was down there at the Pig and the Pearl one time, I was just telling him like I had a hard time adjusting in Atlanta. Louisville's small. Atlanta's different. It's competitive. It's busy, 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 and I'm having a hard time adjusting, and I'm sitting down, I'm talking to him, and he's like, man, like, what do you want to do? I'm like, what do you mean, what do I want to do? He's like, what do you want to cook? And at that time, I never really thought about it. I always thought about cooking somebody else's food, but I never thought about what I wanted to cook. And after a conversation, he's like, you need to find your roots. Find your roots and find out what you want to cook. But until then, you're just going to be cooking somebody else's food. And I was like, okay. And
absolutely. If people ask me, advice, which they do all the time, but my thing is just like, what are you cooking for? I mean,
great advice from an OG, my friend.
Yeah. Stephan and I had a conversation a couple of weeks ago about, likes, followers, and butts and seats, and they don't necessarily all translate the same. I mean, the thing is that, yes, media and social media is very important, but, what perspective are you giving the guests? It's so easy. I mean, it's so easy to mimic other people's food right now because you can see everyone presenting their food on IG, social media, and just giving it away. And I tell people, and I tell chefs right now, you need to hold some of that stuff back. You need to not present all your dishes on the ground because people are consuming your dishes without putting their butts in your seats.
Absolutely.
But
I also think, Chef, one of the things that we fail to do, especially, and I think it's important more than ever today, as I understand the intricacies of marketing a project, of marketing a restaurant. People want to connect on a deeper level than just coming to have a bite to eat. They want to connect with you, and they want to hear about that story. They want to hear about why you're doing what you're doing and why you're cooking this type of food. There has to be a multi-level connection, and I'm using that because I think that's the best word. There has to be a multi-level connection when I come and connect with you at your restaurant.
I tell people, what do we do at Jackmont's? What is our job with these restaurants? Our job is to take stress out of travel. That's what our job is. It's not necessarily to present the most haute cuisine, even though we do, or things like that. Our job is to take the stress out of travel. You have to get dressed, to get undressed, to get dressed back again. You have to go find your gate. You have upteen things of luggage. You have your phone. If you're in business, you have your phone and your laptop, and you're looking for an oasis just to breathe. And if you approach that from the human level from any restaurant, that what is your job in the community, in a certain community? If it's a food desert in there, you can't do a haute cuisine restaurant in a food desert. You have to meet the people where they are in order to take the stress out of their lives, and that's what our job is as restaurateurs and chefs. And if you approach it that way, then we're always going to be guest forward. So you're not going to be guest behind, saying how great I am, throw the roses at my feet. You'll be presenting roses, and roses are dishes and great cocktail, of course, great service and hospitality walking in the door. That to me is the hallmark of greatness. And that's why, Lawrence, has been nominated for a Beard Award because he gets it. Not all chefs get it. Not all chefs get it.
No.
We got about 6-7 more minutes here.
And chef, tell us, how do we follow you on social media and hopefully connect with you when you open? I can't wait to come and not only have a bite at this pub, but I think it'd be great to bring Todd's specialty barbecue to connect with your Creole, Cajun pub style food, English style food, and do something together.
Look, Louisville ain't ready for it. I haven't cooked in Louisville since 2008.
I've been trying to get Todd back to Louisville.
Yeah.
Listen,
the prodigal son.
You're talking.
Returns, right?
As his road manager, you're talking to the right guy. We'll get him there.
Yeah.
So y'all can follow me on all platforms. Weeks in a Days. My last name in a Days. And then Murray's Creole Pub is the name of the establishment and also the handle on social media.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
That's so great to have you on, Lawrence. This is going to be us coming back. We took a little bit of hiatus. I finally got back home, and Stephan, we didn't tell everybody what episode we're in right now.
Episode 43, my friend.
Wow, 43.
Episode 43.
This is. This is amazing to be able to have 43 episodes. Yeah,
we have been like children in a candy store since the day we started this podcast. I have been like a child in a candy store since the day I got into this adventure with this guy. So and we've been friends for close to 15 years now. He's traveled to Haiti. I've brought him to Haiti. I participated and helped him do the research for his second cookbook. And now we have this podcast together and we're working on some other stuff. So I can tell you the adventure has just begun. And listen, man, we would love to visit you in Kentucky when you're ready, and hopefully, do a little something.
I know that's right. How your Cardinals doing? We it is football season here, so we got to talk a little bit of football before we get off here. How your Louisville Cardinals doing? Look, he don't even want to say it. He just starts shaking his head.
Look, no, here's the thing. I'm a Cats fan.
You're a Cats. That's right. Oh, okay, all right. We won't tell anybody that to fly. All right, Stephan, go ahead, take us out of here, my friend.
So we wish you nothing but success, Chef. Great success. I know you'll knock it out of the park. I think you'll get another James Beard nomination soon enough. Ladies and gentlemen, this was a easy Speakeasy Tuesday. With
Speakeasy Tuesday,
with Chef Lawrence Weeks, super talented, amazing chef, and he's about to do something special in Louisville, Kentucky. And I hope all of you make it a point to not only take a trip to Louisville, Kentucky, but to visit his new project and really support this amazing talent. This has been like I said, a very Speakeasy Tuesday. We are back, episode 43. We're going to close out the year with a bang, I think. And that includes a soon-to-be announcement.
Yes.
That we shall bring on at the right time. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for your continued support. As you know, the best way to support us is to share and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen to us on Heritage Radio Network and where all podcasts are sold. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and so on. We'll see you next Tuesday. Same time, same channel.
Don't forget our great YouTube channel, Roots Heart Soul Podcast. And as always, every Tuesday, 7 p.m., you will find us here listening to Roots Heart Soul Podcast on Heritage Radio
Network.